Hello, and today's learning target is I can graph a linear relationship from a t-chart or a table. A t-chart is a way to represent the relationship between ordered pairs. The numbers that are across from each in the t-chart form an ordered pair. We can then graph each ordered pair. So let's look at this t-chart or this table right here. For example, 0, 3 would be an ordered pair. Whoops, I want the highlighter. 5, 6, 10, 9, and 15, 12 would all be ordered pairs to graph. And together, they form a linear equation or a straight line. So let's go ahead and graph these ordered pairs. So I'm going to go ahead and graph 0, 3. And 0, 3 is, let's get a bigger pen. 0, 3 would be right there. 5 over 5 up 6 would be right there. 10, 9 would be about right there, and then the other one, 15, 12, would actually go off the graph. And if we would actually connect these would form a straight line like this. So that would be graphing from a t-chart or a table. A t-chart can also be a good tool to graph an equation. When we are given any equation, we can make a t-chart or a table and then graph the points. Let's practice this, make a t-chart or a table of the ordered pairs and then graph those ordered pairs. So as we look at this this equation, and then we're going to graph it here, y equals 2x minus 4. We are going to plug in these values for x right there into our function wherever we see x and find our output y. So here for this first example, I would say y equals 2 times negative 2 minus 4. And 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, minus 4 gives me negative 8. So I can go ahead and graph the ordered pair, negative 2, negative 8. Negative 2, negative 8, about right there. Okay, now I'll go ahead and look at the next value that I'll plug in, and I'll plug in negative 1. So y equals 2 times negative 1 minus 4. And 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, minus 4 is negative 6. So now I'll go ahead and graph the ordered pair. Excuse me, negative 1, negative 6. And that's, right about there. And now let's go ahead and plug in the next value of 0. So y equals 2, times 0 minus 4, and 2 times 0 is 0, minus 4 is negative 4, and then if I plot that point, 0, negative 4 would be right there, and now let's plug in 1, so y equals 2 times 1 minus 4, 2 times 1 is 2, minus 4 is negative 2. So I'll go ahead and graph that ordered pair at 1, negative 2. Oops, and my 0, 4 ordered pair actually looks off. So I'm going to fix that one real quick. I just noticed. So that one should be about right there. And then 1, negative 2 is about right there, because these should also form a straight line. So if they don't form a straight line, you know that perhaps you plugged in a value incorrect or something went wrong, or when you plugged in your value, your output was incorrect or something happened, so it's always good to double check. Now let's plug in 2. Y equals 2 times 2 minus 4. 2 times 2 is 4, minus 4 is 0, so this last point would go on 2, 0, but right there. So now if I connect these points, I should form a straight line, and they do form a straight line. Whoops, let's fix that. Oh, make sure to go through all the points. And that would be my linear function made from or graphed from a t-chart or a table. Let's do one more example. Let's make a t-chart or a table and graph the equation. So the equation is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in negative 2 for x. So I'll have y equals negative 1/2 times negative 2 plus 3. Negative 1/2 times negative 2 is positive, it's a positive 1. 1/2 times 2 is 1. and then the two negatives cancel out, so 1 plus 3 is 4. Now if I plug in negative 1, y equals negative 1/2 times negative 1 plus 3. Negative 1/2 times negative 1 is 1/2, plus 3 is 3.5, or 3.5. Y equals negative 1/2 times 0 plus 3, and 1/2 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. So as you can tell from this table here, each value in the y on the y side is decreasing by 1/2. So we hopefully can continue to excuse me, follow that trend. So the next one, y equals negative 1/2 times 1 plus 3. Negative 1/2 times 1 is negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 plus 3 is 2.5. So we are decreasing by 1/2. And then lastly, if I plug in 2, y equals negative 1/2 times 2 plus 3. Negative 1/2 of 2 is negative 1, plus 3 is 2. So again, we're decreasing by 1/2. So now let's go ahead and plot these points. So I'll plot negative 2, negative 4. Put right there. I want to change colors. Okay, so here we go. Negative 2, negative 4. Negative 1, negative 3.5. 0, oops, I'm not graphing these correctly. I just graphed all the negatives. Negative 2 up 4, there we go. Negative 1, 3.5, I apologize for that. Okay, 0, 3, 1, 2.5, 2, 2. And again, these should be a straight line. It's kind of difficult here with this large pen, but they do connect and they do form a straight line, which is a linear equation. Thanks for listening to the video on graphing linear equations from a T-chart or a table. Have a great day. Bye-bye.